Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Andy Tech 101 here, back with another video. So today's video, I got something really cool and nostalgic to share with you guys. So right here in front of me, I have an Apple iPhone 5C from 2013. Can you believe that this phone is already over a decade old? Almost 13 years old to be exact. That is just insane. So I picked this blue iPhone 5C up at my local flea market over the weekend. I went there with my family on Saturday. It's a yearly tradition of ours. We go to this huge flea market, and they got everything that you can think of. They got home goods. They got vintage stuff from the 70s, 80s, even the 1950s. Vintage stuff, like crazy old stuff. Even people's old crap that they don't want anymore. Video games like the classics. Super Nintendo, the Wii, Game Boy, all that, Xbox, you name it, they got everything. And one booth had this bright blue iPhone 5C, and it really caught my eye because guess what? This was literally the first ever cell phone I had when I was 11 years old. So at the time, my parents didn't really allow me to have a cell phone. I had an iPod Touch 5th generation, which I could make free phone calls on and text messages and stuff like that, but it wasn't a cell phone. And at my school, these phones were very, very trendy, and so I had to get one. So I kept my grades up, and I was able to get this phone. So I was really, really blessed with that. Unfortunately, I don't have my original iPhone 5C because I think like years ago it broke, so I no longer have that one. But I had to relive the memories again, being a teenager and having my first cell phone, so you already know I had to pick it up. Now, the thing is that the seller wasn't really willing to come down in price at the time, so he was like kind of stingy on the price, but then we looked around the phone and all that, and it had scratches on it. It wasn't it's not a bad condition, but it did have scratches, and it even have an iCloud lock on it, so it's definitely not perfect. So then he was willing to come down in price, and guess how much I paid for this? Walking out the door with this, $20 for this phone, and it's in working condition. Everything works on it, so that is just awesome. I tested out all the buttons, the speakers, the charging, the battery, everything works. It even has a brand new battery in it. So the battery is actually lasting good too. So that is awesome. Now taking a look at this phone, look at that phone, man. From 2013, it is just so nostalgic. And yes, I did clean it. I did disinfect it with a Clorox wipe, so don't worry. I made sure just in case COVID is back in 2025. You never know. But man, look at that color. Now, back in 2013, they came out in a bunch of different colors. Blue, they had pink, yellow, green, and white. So it was literally like an iPod Touch, but in a cell phone. So that was just awesome. Now, taking a look at the screen, the scratches aren't really that bad. From certain angles, you can't really tell, but there are some deep scratches on the top and maybe on the bottom here as well. So, it's not bad. It's not cracked, but there are wear and tear. But remember, this is 13 years old, so, it is what it is. And then on the bottom as well, there's some, it looks like maybe they might have dropped the phone. There are like some little indentations here, but it's not that bad. All the ports are usable, so it's not that big of a deal. But the back looks so good. Wow, it looks beautiful. Look at that mirror finish. It is plastic, but it does look very, very nice. The one thing I loved about the iPhone 5C was how compact it was. Because, in 2025, we have the Pro Max, iPhone 17, the iPhone Air is huge. This is so small. It literally fits in your hand. You can reach all four corners of the display. That was just the best, man. Like the classic iPhone look with these big, giant bezels, with the black front. I mean, it's just beautiful, man. And I also loved about the iPhone 5C, all these black accents, you know, the black Apple logo, the black speaker, black lightning connector and all that. So everything was all to match the screen with the blue backing. It is just beautiful. I loved it, man. This was my favorite color of the 5C. And also shout out to my best friend Chad, my brother, that I've known for so many years. Shout out to him. He had the same phone as me. I don't remember if it was in green or in white. I think it might have been in white, but he really wanted that green color. So shout out to you, my brother. You know, like, bro, the iPhone 5C was such a vibe in middle school. Really, like back in the day, this was the best, man. So taking a look at the iOS, so it's even got the slide to unlock, man. This is like back in the day, bro. Look at this. Now listen to this. Watch this. Listen to this. Oh my God, the famous lock sound. Listen. Oh my God, that was the best, man. It's not the same like it used to be. You know what I mean? This is peak nostalgic, man. Now it does have iOS 9. So I'll show you really quick. So let's go into settings, general and about. So it does have version 9.2. Now, before this, it did say that it was an AT&T phone, but now it says not available. So I don't know what's up with that. It does not have a SIM card in here. So, and this was an 8 gigabyte phone. That is just insane. Like nowadays, you know, all the iPhone 17 start at 256 gigabytes, and even the 17 Pro Max get like the top tier 2 terabytes. Because, you know, you need it for like recording and apps and stuff like that, but 8 gigabytes in 2013 was the starting storage. That is just insane. Like, that is just crazy. So yeah, I mean, look at the wallpaper. So nostalgic. Look at the wallpaper, man. Like, this was the blue wallpaper that it came with, which I'll show you some of the wallpapers that it came with. Look at this. So this was the iOS 9 wallpapers. So it's so nostalgic. Look at that. This was back in 2015, dude. Like, look at this. So awesome. And then these were like the built-in wallpapers that it came with the iPhone 5C. Like all the colors. The iPhone 5C did not come in a gray or black, but they had these wallpapers as well. That is just so cool. But yeah, I mean, it's so snappy actually. I mean, it's a little bit buggy, but I mean, it's not bad on iOS 9. But then if you update it to iOS 10, then that's when like the iPhone 5, 5C, they start to get like really buggy and slow. But it's not too bad on iOS 9. You know, you pretty much got like the same icons from iOS 7, the same look, and like I said, the same slide to unlock. Like, this is just so nostalgic. Because then like after iOS 10, then you had like the home button, and it just didn't feel the same. Now, here's the thing. You can open the App Store, but unfortunately, you cannot download apps anymore. A lot of the apps and games nowadays, you have to have at least iOS 15 or above. So, like, for instance, I'll show you, like, TikTok. So, as you can see, you have to have iOS 15. So, it's not compatible. Instagram, it's not compatible. Snapchat, look at this, not compatible. So you cannot download it anymore. YouTube even, nope. So like if you open it up, you can actually see you have to have at least iOS 16 or above. Look at that. So a lot of the apps nowadays, you have to have newer software. So I could probably assume, like, maybe you can probably jailbreak this phone and then you can download, like, older versions of apps. That's definitely possible. But as you can see, yeah, you cannot download apps anymore. But the App Store works. I mean, you can literally, look at this, Sora AI. That was definitely not around back in 2013. So you could see it loads. And then, like, even the iTunes Store, you could probably download music on here, too. So that is just so cool. It does take a little bit, but you could see, yeah, 2025 music is on here on iTunes. That is so cool. Taylor Swift, out the new album for Taylor Swift. Yeah, so the speaker works, everything works. So that is just so cool. You could probably download music and listen to it. Like, it's got the old music icon on there. So I did check, there is no downloaded music on here, so that does suck. And it keeps popping up like this iCloud thing. Like, I don't even know the password to it, so that's what sucks. But it's not that big of a deal. I mean, I could probably try to factory reset it with iTunes, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, look how nostalgic, man. Look at that. That is just beautiful. Look at that. You got the clock, classic iOS 7, clock app and all that. You had the compass. Like, this was like peak iOS 7, man. Look at that. That is just so cool. Yeah. And pretty much it has like a brand new battery. So I really haven't noticed a battery drain on here. So I think they probably got a new battery. And yeah, I mean, it's just so nostalgic to see this like in 2025. Like, I remember having this as a kid, and like now, like, we take these big phones for granted, and then, it's like, wow, like, look at that. You can literally hold this phone in your hands. Like, you can't do that with the Pro Max. You can't even reach the whole screen with just one finger, with one thumb. You know what I mean? So it's like, checking this out in 2025, like, this is just amazing. Look at that. No scratches on the back. Like, it looks in pristine condition almost. It's just, scratches on the front, but it's not that big of a deal. One more time. Look at that. Now, the thing is that back in 2013, people called this like the worst iPhone, and even nowadays people say that this is the worst phone, the iPhone 5C, because it was essentially an iPhone 5 with a plastic shell and an iPod-like vibe to it. So, yes, I guess so. It had an A6 chip, so it was definitely downgraded from the iPhone 5S. It was $100 cheaper, but, it didn't have a fingerprint scanner, So Apple did cheap out a little bit to make the price cheaper. So, at the time in 2013, it started at $99 on contract, or $549 off contract. So it was still an expensive phone back in the day. But honestly, I can't hate this phone. Me personally, I love it. The colors and everything is just awesome, man. It is just such a beautiful phone, and I miss it. But thankfully now I can add this to my collection. And you can actually buy one for yourself nowadays, dirt cheap. You can find these on eBay like for $20-$30, and they're working condition. The only thing is, though, is that you can't find these like with iOS 7 or iOS 8 anymore. And if you do, or if you do find them like brand new in the box, people are selling them for like hundreds of dollars, even a couple $1,000. And honestly, I don't think they're worth that much, but a lot of collectors, they think so. So obviously, it's going to be worth more. But you can find these like dirt cheap, and like you can get like all 5 colors, and you can probably get them like under $100 easily, and in working condition. So, but man, I missed this phone, and I'm so glad that I got it for a good price. $20 at the flea market, can't go wrong with that. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Let me know in the comment section, what was your first phone ever? And if you liked the iPhone 5C back then. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. And before I go,